What's going on? John from Long Island punk band Wrecked. I figured I'd make another video with another guitar from my collection. A little bit of band news. June 5th, Saturday, June 5th. Wrecked is coming back to the live stage. Our first show since February of 2020. It's going to be Mr. Beery's. We'll be playing with Demon Scar. We'll be playing with a Motorhead / Plasmatics tribute band. Should be pretty cool. And to close out the night, getting back together with the boys from Death Proof, and we're going to do a set of Death Proof songs. So that should be fun. Also, we're going back to the studio in 2 weeks. Start recording another EP. We got 4 originals, a couple of covers. The originals, 2 of them are pretty new. We haven't played them live yet. And the other 2 are songs that weren't quite ready for the other recording last time. So that'll be on Spotify and as soon as that's done. So be on the lookout for that. Future-wise, I think I'd like to do is get all the songs, get them mastered and put them out on a vinyl maybe. That's in the future, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, my last video was my 1992 Gibson Les Paul Standard. This video, it's a 1979 Gibson ES335 TD. It's a semi-hollow guitar, so that means the sides are hollow. There's a solid maple block that runs through the length of the guitar. So ES stands for Electric Spanish. 335 is the model. TD, T stands for thin. So if you look at the profile, it's about the depth of a Les Paul. D stands for double or dual pickup, which has 2 pickups, which all 335s do. I don't understand why they had to call it, make it part of the item number, but either way. I bought this guitar in the summer of 1995. Paid, I think, 15 or 13 for this guitar. They were asking 18, but we got them down. I first became aware of a 335. It's like an old man's guitar. It's an old classic rock and roll guitar. Guys like Rich Robinson from the Black Crowes played them. Alvin Lee from 10 Years After. Alex Lifeson from Rush. I think Marty McFly played one. I don't know if he played a 335, but it was sort of like this. But I didn't really want one until I saw a video of the band the Cranberries play Woodstock in the summer of '94. And I was listening to this sound coming out, and the guy had a 335 like this, walnut version, and his tone was a Gibson tone, but it had this other depth to it, this chiminess, this openness, which you can't get out of a Les Paul or any other solid body Gibson. At that time I owned a Les Paul, I owned an Explorer, and I'd played a bunch of Gibsons and never had that sound. I was like, wow, man, this is the next guitar I want. So saved up my money. I was working at a movie theater. And so I'm like, you know what? I can't afford a new one because they were like $2,000, I think, or 18 or 2, something like that. I'm like, let me get a used one. We'll see if I can. So there was this one store I used to go to in Wantor where I used to get all my guitars serviced and set up and, repaired. Music Services. He sold vintage instruments as well. And he had a couple, but he was very pricey. There's another guy in Wantor across the way from him that was only open for a short period of time. He had some used instruments too, but nothing. He didn't have any Gibson 335s. We went to Michael's Music in Freeport, which had, museum quality guitars, Gibsons, Fenders, Rickenbackers, you name it. He even had a wall full of like the shredding guitars, BC Richards, Jacksons, Ibanez. He had a lot of stuff, amps, basses, but he was very pricey. So my father and I were, in there checking out, playing some 335s, and, I'm realizing I can't afford one of these. So the guy who was really cool, he got me on the side, says, what are you looking to spend? I'm like, dude, my limit was like $1,200, at that point, that was a lot of money. It still is a lot of money. He goes, I might have something for you. So he goes away and comes back. He's like, there's another shop in Baldwin, Sunrise Guitars. He goes, he might have some stuff for you. I said, okay. So literally right on Sunrise Highway, a little further west. So we went to Sunrise Guitars, and he had a shit ton of 335s. This one was the cheapest one he had, so this is the one I took off the wall. I sat down when I started playing it, and man, what a tone. And I was playing through an old, I think a Fender Vibro King or something, which I don't play through Fender amps typically. And man, this thing had a great sound, and I was like, man, this is, he's asking 1,800. So my father got him down, and we ended up buying the guitar from him. He threw in a case which wasn't the original case, which smells like it was in a flood. It still does, even all these years later. But anyways, so brought it home, love it. But anyways, I was there and I said, well, how come this is cheaper than the rest of them? I'm looking at 335s that are in 2000, and this is 1979. How come it's not as expensive as those? He says, well, he's like, this is what they call a Norland era Gibson. And I had no idea what he's talking about. Norland Musical Instruments was a music company, instrument company that bought Gibson in the late 60s. And they sold them in the early 80s, I think. And these guitars aren't collectible. They're not desirable. People avoid them. Okay. I said, well, what's that mean? What's Norland? What's the difference? He said, well, I'll show you. And there's four major characteristics of this guitar that make it different than a collectible 335. Number one, this tailpiece. It's what they call a trapeze tailpiece. Anybody who wants 335, the players, they want a stop bar, which is typically what you see on a Les Paul or an SG. The stop bar would be bolted here into the maple block and give you more sustain. So they don't like to see these trapeze bridges because there's nothing anchoring it to the guitar. Now, sustain is not a problem for me, and I'll get into that in a bit. The second drawback, or the feature, I guess, this switch here. If you notice, here's your pickup selector. This here's a coil tap or a coil split. Essentially what it does is splits these humbuckers into single coils and makes it sound more like a Strat or a Telecaster type sound. Number one, it doesn't do that. It's a piece of shit. Number two, I'm of the opinion that if you want a Strat, buy a Strat, play a Strat. If you want to sound like a Tele, play a Telecaster. Gibson's not going to do it for you. I've never played a guitar that does everything. It sounds like all. I mean, you have different guitars for different reasons. So, I don't see the point in the coil tap. The third feature would be the frets. I know you can't see them, but these frets are very low and very wide. They're referred to as fretless wonders, as a matter of fact. It's supposed to make playing it a little easier, and it is. I prefer a little bit heavier fret, a little higher, so guitar would sustain a little bit better. But again, I don't have problems with sustain on this guitar. The other feature of this guitar, if I can get it up here, you see behind the headstock, this right here, it's a bump. It's called a volute. Get a better picture of that. It's called a volute. Apparently people were having problems with dropping these guitars and the headstocks would break off. I don't know what kind of asshole allows that to happen, but I guess accidents happen. But people don't want to see that. I guess it's undesirable, whatever. I've dropped this guitar once and, the headstock didn't break off. But a couple things happened to it when it did. Tone pot here, this broke completely. And the up here, this tuning, the G string tuning peg got mangled. When I brought it in to get repaired, the guy says, he goes, you need a new pot. He goes, I can't get these type. It's going to be a pain in the ass. He goes, I can just have it cranked all the way open with a screwdriver and then you're never going to use it. I said, that's fine. I'll touch my tone knobs anyhow. The tuning key, this is before the age of the internet, so you couldn't get these tuners. These are floral print, not floral print, but I mean, they got a little flower on it, but you can't get them. He said, I can put new tuners on it, but he's going to start drilling into the guitar. I didn't want that. I said, can you just make it so it works? The thing works. It's fine. I mean, it's a little bit, like I said, it's bent up in there, but it works. I don't have anything bad to say about the guitar. I mean, people say, I was talking about with the sustain of the trapeze piece and the low frets. I play this through a Mesa triple rectifier, which is my main amp, and the thing sustains for days. And another cool thing that happens with this guitar, being that it's hollow, or semi-hollow, if you're playing in front of a real speaker cabinet, I'm not talking about these low wattage combo amps that people are all the rage these days. I'm talking about like a 100-watt Mesa Boogie through a Marshall cabinet. That's pushing a lot of air at you. It pushes and interacts with the guitar. It's crazy. So I'll be playing it and it'll start, like, I don't want to say it feels alive. Like the air starts coming out of these F holes, and you're in this zone where every note you hit is sustaining and it's just singing, and it's really something to behold. Really, it happened a few times. I mean, I don't really know how to do it. I wish I understood the process a little bit better, but it happens from time to time. And when you do, you're in that zone and it sounds great. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All I have to say about this guitar. I'm a guitar player. I'm not a collector. I mean, I collect guitars, but I play all my guitars. I don't put them in the case, and I don't take pictures of them and put them on Instagram. I play my guitars. I mean, this thing, like I said, it was dropped once by accident. It's got some nicks and scratches, a little bit of finish checking in the back. But, you know, it's a 40-something-year-old guitar. What do you expect? I love it. I play it. You know, I'm not going to sit there and put it on a wall and, like I said, just take pictures of it like a lot of people do. I play my guitars. And this is one that's, you know, it's a great guitar. And you can get these, you know. You can get them. They're not too expensive. Again, it's your typical Gibson build. Maple top. I think maple and poplar ply. I can't really see it's painted. Neck is 3-piece. I think it's mahogany or something, but either way, it's a Gibson, you know, and it's a good sounding Gibson, and I'm happy to have it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. Again, June 5th, Mr. Beery's. Come there, you know, support your local business. You know, they all need it, especially now trying to open up after COVID. So come down, check us out. You know, I'm not making any promises. It's gonna be, like I said, our first live gig in since February of 2020. So we have to knock the rust off a bit, but we'll be doing it. And again, set of death-proof songs at the end of the night. So you know, we haven't played, wow, a couple of years now, I guess. About 7 years, maybe. I don't know, something like that. But maybe 6 or 7 years. So that's all, man. Thank you for watching the video. Have a great day.